I think I'm on Dementia 20 now. So you need to look into the shorts as well. I've tried to move them into the Dementia playlist with the videos and any referred YouTube videos that I think are beneficial. So I'm going to do a quick summary. It's not complete, but I'm going to run down the list. So the various topics in there are the alphabet designations, and that pertains to state and facilities bylaws, whatever. That would be the power of attorneys. That would be relevant. I don't address competency. That is something that's strictly an attorney issue. But this would be medical power of healthcare and how to move forward in baby steps for dementia, early stage dementias. So generally in assisted living and in enhanced care, which is just a person that has certain medications that they've had maybe for life. They're not necessarily pertaining to cognition, might be neuropathy. So that's one. So that's all the different designations and titles, and whether you would fall into that as either a caregiver, advocate, family, non-family. Next on the list, nutrition. So I address 4 different models of nutrition, and I'm not recommending any of them. I'm just saying that in one of my videos, it refers to the nutrition aspect. This is a person that is an alternative type of community-based caregiving. So this is like an adult care home for people with dementia, maximum of like 4 clients. And then there's various videos that pertain to that. Number 2 would be the hidden costs. So if you're interested in actually the financial structure of facilities and how they go about what they do with their budgets, this is based off of the most transparent state. So it was Illinois. And I found that very interesting. I'm just kind of a nerd in that way. I do address a little bit about the financial, but very little. Just in regards to that, different units have costs tied to them, and that you need to establish that in a care plan, especially when you're forward thinking, you're going to maybe transfer into a different unit. I don't go too deeply into comparisons of facilities because that's just way too broad. That'd be like if you were looking at apartments or even senior housing. The variables are there. The amenities are variables, etc. Even the room floor plans, many variables. I don't go into that too much, but I do address a little bit of that. These are all things just to ponder. The next thing is that, let's see, the first 24 to 48 hours when you're with a person and they're adjusting to their new location. A little bit about the relationship status. And I don't want to delve into anybody's personal situations. So I have indicated in a couple of my videos, please don't comment about anything you think are injustices, but this is, people have different roles in a dynamic of a relationship. And I found one that addresses narcissistic persons and how they adapt to dementia and how they work their dynamic there. I found that greatly enlightening. And the next one is healing yourself and focusing on yourself. This is a very difficult journey. It's a devoted journey. It's often not a reward. There's, intrinsic rewards are there. The next one that I cover is a little bit about faith-based care in how you address that in a care plan, what your options are for that, what your options are, I guess you could call socializing. But this is based mostly on keeping structure that may have been there initially in their lifetime. The next one has to do with, let's see, There weren't very many that were way off the mark. I don't tend to enjoy any of the videos that are like 7 signs of whatever. I don't like anything that I think is just a strange generated video, or if it's a commercialization. There is a little bit in there about neuropathy and the brain function, and I found that also interesting as well. I'm not going into the types of dementia nor Alzheimer's. That's all something that can be researched separately. So if that piques your curiosity, if that's helping you with some of the things that you're addressing, or maybe those are things that you hadn't really considered, I think I do address a little bit about the security issues. Yeah. Identity theft, and then mail forwarding, and what's your best angle on that one. And then how to have a person understand this would be physical security. Do they understand their keys? Do they understand their door key, their mailbox key, their private entrance key? It might be like something that is an after hours key. And other than that, I don't really address securing any of your assets or your possessions, because sometimes that gets into financial, and I don't go there. I'm just simply addressing like who would assist a person to sort like their junk mail from things that are pertinent, that they have to close out certain accounts, and that you need proxies. Maybe when you get to certain stages, how do you deal with if you are completely closing out something? You're going to want to close out like your utility accounts or whatever. I'm not going to talk about the continuity of keeping any kind of property and address any of that. This is just, does this person need a proxy person? And a little bit about the steps in that, because you can't just assert yourself that way. I do address a little bit about HIPAA. I do address a little bit about the process of when you're on a phone verbally with somebody and you're asserting proxy and you cannot assert it, they can assert it. You have to remain mute. They have to identify themselves. It's in the video, explains to you the step-by-step on that, and whether that's a one-off situation or whether you're going to be that indefinitely for a certain time. And I do address on some of these videos that once you've become, they're not codependency, but once you have been that person for them, how do you step back out of that situation? And then how would you see that in the long term? Like, how would you establish it if you're going to not, or if you are going to maybe exchange those duties periodically with family, like how you want to set that up structurally. And I do address advanced directives. I guess that's primarily advanced directives don't really go into detail on those things. They have to do with the questions that they're going to ask you about emergency scenarios. And then I do talk a little bit about the emergency scenarios that arise in a nursing home. They're few and far between, but basically they're a state mandated drill, and you may want to have that person be aware that they're going to be experiencing a fire drill. So there's a pretty practical, logical process to this. It's almost as if you're putting yourself in their shoes and you're going through this process, even if you're a minimal observer. This gives you the lens to see that and what they're facing, and maybe that you can understand that these things are going to add to confusion, and you don't want to immediately think that this is something that's a decline. For many people, this is a pivotal point in life, and it's daunting. I address a little bit about the psychology, not a whole lot. Many older persons often refer to it as, nursing home, old folks home, being committed, yada, yada. So again, I just help you just a little bit, put it into a more modern perspective of this is your new housing. This is a home. this is your community, however you want to address that with him. So that is something that is comparable to going from home to senior housing, going from a rehab post-surgical setting into a setting where there's people that are elderly and have geriatric needs. But since we're addressing dementia, we're really not talking about aging or disability. It's a little bit of both mixed in there, often is the case. So again, best wishes. I hope that you find in the shorts, you'll see them. They're highlighted in red like this. Some of them allowed me to put the actual topic in the front, and for some reason in the editing, post edits, I was unable to put the topics there. You're going to have to scroll a little bit and read the description and the title. So blessings to you, to your family, to the future, and anything that requires healing and prayer. You got it. Stay blessed.